I guess I'll start. Sheldon, what did you guys learn today? Obviously, newer surface, new team for you. So there's a lot of new about today. How did it go overall?
I thought it went really well. I tried crashing the car on like lap 2, so that was a fun start. Got the blood flowing early this morning, and overall just a really good day. Got to try, I think, 3 different sets of tires, 3 different combinations, and then got to run I guess our one standard set multiple times. So car feels really good. Thought everyone worked together well, and obviously I've never been here since, when's the last time I raced here? 2013?
12, 13, yeah.
Yeah, I was like 16 in 2013, I think, so yeah, what a cool place. Like, I feel like I was driving into like a scene of the Days of Thunder this morning when I drove in, so just a really cool place. It's really fast, like really fast.
Yeah, it's not a fresh repave, but it's been like a year and a half or whatever it's been. Has it aged enough to the point where come next spring at least, can you guys move around? Do you think it'll be a good race?
Yeah, I mean, just with 3 cars today, I thought, we got the line off the bottom in 1 and 2. I don't know if it was the better line, but you could run off the bottom. So, yeah, I guess it depends how hot it is, and obviously there's going to be a lot more rubber on the racetrack. But I don't know. I would assume the first year or 2 it's just going to be really fast around the bottom, but I could be wrong. I hope it's.
What memories do you have of this place?
What memories?
Yeah.
Like none.
None at all. Yeah.
I mean, maybe from a kid watching, but I don't know. It's really cool. It's close to home. Like, there's just a lot of cool things about this place.
So you were young when they stopped racing out here. So did you ever think you'd get a chance to drive out here?
I didn't. Honestly, I thought it had probably been torn down or something at some point, and then I seen something about it getting repaved, a couple years ago. I thought maybe there's a chance. NASCAR didn't really talk about it; it just posted online. So yeah, now that we do get to come back here and race, and we Rockingham Xfinity and our so yeah, I think it's really cool.
Sheldon, are you, let's just say this, you're a young guy, but at heart, when it comes to tracks like Rockingham, are you an old school kind of a guy that you like a track like this?
Definitely. Yeah, obviously this place is really cool today. It's very technical in a way. But yeah, my favorites are like our Darlingtons, our Homesteads, our old wore out places. So I think hopefully this will wear out again one day and create really good racing.
One more from me, just the opportunity to work with a new team and new guys. Did that go pretty well?
I thought so. There was a few things this morning. Obviously, I drove the Goodyear car 4 days ago, so there was a few things right away that were different. So getting used to that, and then just getting a lot of laps today. It drives really nice. So I really enjoyed working with everyone today, and had a lot of people here that I'd never met. So just good to kind of hit the ground running before we have some time off, and then be able to start working.
Then Justin, congratulations on Saturday again. Kind of a fresh repave, but it's been like a year and a half. Has this place widened out a little bit? Do you think it's going to race good if it's a little bit warmer?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as somebody that came here a long time ago with the ARCA series, it is definitely a huge departure from what the old service was. But at the same time, and I think Sheldon mentioned it, over the course of the day, when we first put laps on the racetrack this morning, I was a little nervous because I didn't feel like it was going to rubber in right away. And then somewhere around lunchtime when the sun really kind of came out, it got rubbered in pretty quickly. I mean, I was actually really surprised by the end, how much rubber we laid down. I feel like 1 and 2 widened out quite a bit throughout the course of the day. I probably ran a little higher. I think you ran right in the middle and Brandon kind of ran lower. But 3 and 4, we were kind of locked in the bottom, which is weird because that's not the traditional fast line around Rockingham. So, I think when we get here on race weekend and you get 38 cars or even that in January at the org test, right? you get 38 race cars out there and get to make laps, it's definitely going to widen out a lot. But Sheldon's right, it's a very technical racetrack, very unique shaped. It is, it's not easy to make laps here, even when your car's handling really well. You can make a small mistake and it's pretty costly on a lap time. So, I think as we come through and the surface definitely ages, and if it warms up a little bit, I think it has the potential to be a lot of fun. And it's fast right now. I think that's the biggest thing is compared to the old lap times. I think we're in line with where the Cup cars were, like late 90s, early 2000s, right? So really, really fast, and something that I think will be interesting in how it races on race weekend.
Did you think you'd ever drive through that tunnel again?
I did not. I've driven by here, since and checked the place out, and I really thought that the last time I raced here in ARCA was going to be it. And to Sheldon's point, I think for me, I've always loved the historic racetracks of our sport. I grew up as a fan of this sport for years, and this racetrack has always been iconic. And I've always been kind of surprised that there was a lot of money invested, and I thought we were coming back here, and they did the late model test here, and there was always time to get back here, and I thought we were going to be here a lot earlier than we have been. But I was glad to see that. I've known Bob Sargent for a long time, and I was glad to see this place get put back on the map and put back on the schedule. And our job now is to go out and make a good race out of it, right? This place, I think, we've seen it with North Wilkesboro. We've seen it with a lot of historic racetracks where they get a lot of fanfare when they come back on the schedule, or that they get kind of crown jewel races back. And with us having kind of triple header weekend and all the things we have, I think it has the potential to be a great race on the schedule, and hopefully not short-lived. A long-term project for what we all want.
For both of you guys, is there any feedback that you had for Goodyear and what they were trying to accomplish?
I think we all just told them what the tires did, and they'll go back with their teams and talk about what tire we want to run. I thought it was kind of fun. Like, one tire made the car freer, one made the car tighter, and one was kind of somewhere there in the middle. There's not a lot of fall off, like 1 to 2 tenths. So I would like to see some more fall off, but with more heat. We're getting towards the end of November here, so like Justin said, I think with 38 cars plus trucks in ARCA, hopefully it's a little warmer. I think it has the potential to put on a really good race.
I think same for me. Like Goodyear came here kind of with an idea of what they wanted. To Sheldon's point there, I think you look at the tires that they had, and it was funny how you changed the balance of the car, but lap time didn't really change a whole lot. And actually, the softest tire went the slowest for us, which is kind of weird, right? I fully expected it to be the fastest, and it wasn't. With that being said, though, I think that over the course of the day we saw a lot of change. We saw the track obviously changed a lot with the rubber and the sun. That was probably the biggest thing for me, was the sun at the end there of the test. But I feel like from a hitting it close standpoint, you had some options of what they were hoping for, and I feel like they got pretty close. I don't. If they came back with any of the three, I don't know that any of us would be disappointed. We just have to change our balance to fit whatever tire they brought back. So I feel like they've been doing this long enough, and they've gotten themselves into a position, enough that they're pretty good at getting it really, really close right off the bat. And so I think it'll be interesting to see what they bring back to the race.
So it's been 16 years since you're here, and I believe you're the only one who's the three of y'all who actually drove out here.
Yeah.
And that was the 2008 ARC race. Was that the only time?
Yeah, that was the only.
That's the only one I could find.
That's the only time I've raced here. I've been here other times, but yeah, that was the only one I raced.
So how did the track, compare now to back then?
Probably the biggest thing, and I would say that both of these guys probably ran the simulator leading into here. You didn't go? No? Oh, you probably could you?
I drove a late model stock in 2013 around this place.
Did you?
Yeah, UARE.
So it was a lot rougher back then.
Was it as narrow?
And it actually was probably narrower back then.
It felt narrow?
Felt narrower, yeah.
It was narrow.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of the older racetracks feel narrow. The way that the racing, the way the cars were, I don't know why, but definitely a lot rougher back then. But probably the biggest thing was just tire fall. Back then, you were 4 or 5 seconds over the course of a run, you'd fall off, and by the end of a run, you literally were screaming for tires, and somebody would come in and put tires on, and they looked like a hero because they could drive through the field like no other.
Surely some more bumps too, didn't
Yeah, straightaways were a lot bumpier, especially the tunnel bump was a lot worse. So they've done a good job with what renovations have been made. I mean, I don't feel like they did a whole lot to change the shape of the racetrack, and some of the character was fixed that I think will make for better racing. And back then there was a patch off of 2 that you had to hit just right to be able to make the corner, all those things. I think there's still some renovations. I know, like the safer rear on the back straightaway, some stuff to go in. We spent the majority of the day running kind of down off the back straightaway just because of that. So it will change a little bit even from what we saw today. But again, I think I've said it already, but I think getting 38 cars here, all 3 series here, just getting laps pounded into this place. Like to your point, you ran late on here. I think there's been a few one-off tests here and there, cars on the track, but nothing that's really put the rubber down like what we needed to lately. And so I think that's going to be the interesting one, is just seeing what that looks like once it really gets rubbered in and widened out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
You hoping for a better finish than you had in that race?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I pounded the outside wall off of 2 at one point. It was a bad day. It was a bad weekend for me. So, but then
Mine wasn't
again,
good.
Phoenix was the same way. So
Yeah.
Did they run the supers here, like a test?
They did the supers for a test 2 years ago. 3 years?
I think it was just late model stock cars. It was lane rigs. Yeah, it was lane rigs, and I can't remember the other one.
I couldn't imagine how fast supers would be.
And that was the old pavement too, and they were shredding tires. And then they tried to put a plate on them, and then they couldn't really pass anyone. They were just kind of stuck on the bottom
They had a
and nose to
race
tail.
on the schedule, right?
They did.
There was actually a race planned, and then
Was that before COVID?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
and they couldn't keep tires alive.
Yeah.
We were in platform.
I thought like super
You were late
tests
on soccer,
with the
you're wide open.
retake.
Mm-hmm. That was just late model stocks, but yeah,
So fast.
those cars are so light.
You think we were
Yeah,
gonna
that would be
race
nuts.
Oh no. Not even close.
For Brandon, I've asked the other 2 guys this too, so it's kind of redundant. So bear with me for you other 2 guys. But just the having put the laps on it, did the track widen out? Do you think it'll make for a pretty good race once every division is here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why you don't move around some. Personally, I think it'll be just trying to find some clean track. I think I heard them say it, but you put trucks, Xfinity cars, ARCA cars, all those divisions on it, and I think you're gonna end up with a pretty good race, in my opinion. I mean, yes, it's grippy, but it also has got some fall to it. The resting ways, but you certainly have balanced migration from big extremes to the next. So I thought that all that turned out pretty good, and I thought it's going to be making for a good race.
Yeah, and then you've raced here too. Did you ever see yourself coming back here in a national touring type environment?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, that we are back. It's a super cool racetrack. Kind of a little hidden gem out here in the middle of nowhere, but it is a really cool facility, so I am glad we are back. I think it's gonna make for a really, really cool event. I missed out on the K&N days whenever they would come here, so I didn't get to run the little bit bigger car, but yeah, having a race on it was really fun. It was super good interview when it was here.
And then the chance to work with a new team, kind of learn those guys a little bit. Did that go well?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It was funny that they still had all my stuff sitting in a storage cabinet and bolted her on in there, and it all worked out. So I didn't have to pour a new insert or anything. So it was good. Small little things have changed over there since I was there last, but for the most part, all that stuff has been the same. But to your point, new crew, right? New crew chief, new team around that crew chief. All those guys worked really good together. So they obviously had a good year with Sheldon. It was his group, so I'm looking forward to kind of getting to know them a little bit more and working with them.
Justin, as you celebrate this championship and leading into 2025, you also become the lead ambassador of promoting the entire series. Do you feel sometimes that you're going to have to put a little bit more emphasis when you go to a new facility like this, so you can remind everybody, hey, we got a new place we're going to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been lucky to be in this sport for a long time, and the veteran drivers definitely. I feel like push a lot harder when we come to a new facility, right? Just because you understand the gravity of it, and while it's not a new facility in regards of like the footprint of the racetrack, I think from a fan standpoint and from an engagement standpoint, whether it be social media or in person, I think that at the end of the day, butts in seats, right? Fans at home that watch on TV, if they like what they see and they're a part of it, it makes our job easier, right? Like we got to go out there and do the best job we can, and we're going to race hard and we're going to do all of that. But we go to some of these racetracks that put on great races and we put on terrible shows. We go to some of the racetracks where everybody says you should race well there, and we put on a good show, right? And I think it depends on what 38 drivers show up that day and what effort they put in, but also too, what effort are you putting in outside the racetrack, or off the racetrack, whatever we're putting in, when we come to events like this, because a standalone event for Xfinity Series and Truck Series is a big deal, right? We did it for a long time in Iowa, and we saw huge fanfare with it, but it's more of a challenge whenever it's just the Xfinity Series and Truck Series, right? It is. The Cup Series obviously has a big draw. Would I love to see the Cup Series back here one day? Absolutely. And if we do our job well, I think that's a possibility, right? And so, times definitely changed, and I think obviously this racetrack went away for a number of different reasons off the NASCAR schedule, but at the same time, I feel like we were in an era of car and technology that I don't know that we could adapt to this style of racing back then. And so I think that with the advancements that have been made and the tires and really what our cars have kind of become, I think we can put on a better race today than we could have, even if we'd have come back here 5 years ago, right? When they tried to start running some stuff back here. I think we can put on a better race today than we could then. So, I'm going to do my best, and I know that the other competitors will as well. But I think when it's all said and done, all of our drivers have to take pride in our sport. Whether you've been in it for a while or you're just starting out, I think we all have to take pride in the sport. And one racetrack is equally as important as all of them. And so I think we have to do a good job of that. And I hope that as somebody that's been around the sport for a while, I can help some of the younger guys learn that or be a part of that. But at the same time, I think a lot of it comes down to what you value in the sport. And for me, it's seeing all the things that I've been able to see so far and being able to live it out the number of years that I have been able to.